call this General Services Committee meeting together September the 11th, 2017 at 12:10, excuse me. We have 4 items on the agenda, and the first one is benefit plan changes and renewals. Melissa.
Thank you. It's kind of that time of year again for our open enrollment. So we have just a few changes with our benefits this year, and the 3 that do have changes are our Regents Blue Shield of Idaho medical coverage, our Dental Blue Connect, which is our Willamette dental coverage, and our United Heritage Life Insurance. So we've had a very good year. Our Regents claims and medical insurances have been a really great change since we transitioned from group health last year. We do have a medical review committee that has quite a few people from each association, police, fire, LCEA, a couple people from our broker, which is Murray Group, Troy, our finance director, and myself. And we, through the year, meet and go over our claims and kind of look at trends, and we've just had an exceptional year. So due to that, Regents has given the city a rate pass for the next fiscal year, which results in a 0% premium increase, which is the first time I've ever experienced it with the city, so it's extremely good news. And then they also agreed to add a 3rd tier onto our prescription coverage, which is a tier that will cover a non-brand preferred drug. So right now we have a generic tier at $10, brand at $20, and they agreed to add the 3rd tier for a $30 copay. So that was really good news for people that fell into that category. The Willamette coverage, we just had a very small premium increase there at 1.78%, and we did have a reduction last year, so kind of evens out. And then our United Heritage Life Insurance benefit, they agreed to add a $50,000 occupational death benefit onto the existing coverage. And initially they came back and offered that to our police and fire employees. And we asked them to consider adding that for all of our employees that fall under our life insurance coverage. And after pondering that a bit, they came back and agreed to that with no premium increase. So that was great news for all of our employees. So those are the only changes for all of our benefits, and the other ones just kind of continue on status quo.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, need a motion.
I move to approve the benefit plan changes and renewal rates as described by Melissa Tosi.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the second thing is Lake City Employees Association Agreement. Melissa, again.
Well, thank you. So the city's negotiation team has been meeting with the Lake City Employees Association group this year. We have came to an agreement that both parties were in favor of. It is only a 1-year term, so part of the city's goal is to get the contracts all on the same year for next year. So Lake City Employees Association agreed to that. So a majority of the contract is actually housekeeping changes. The last contract started in 2008, and then there was a couple extensions to that. So the contract, the base of the contract is actually quite old now. So going through it, we cleaned up quite a few of the housekeeping updates with language. The few things that were negotiated changes were a exchange between the birthday holiday and December 24th. They liked that change. And it does streamline the tracking for HR, so I'm very supportive of that. They already have a sick leave repurchase benefit, and they just are changing the way that it's paid. So instead of receiving a taxed check for that sick leave repurchase now once a year, They have requested that that money that they would get paid goes straight into their VIBA, which is a tax-free benefit. And that is a good change. The monthly HRA VIBA contribution that the city makes on behalf of the employee, the city agreed to increase that from $128 to $140 a month. And then there was old language in there that increased that $5 each year, and we took that out. So it's just going to be a set $140 a month. And then we agreed on a 1-year agreement. So not a lot of financial expenses with that. I did calculate the increase in the VIBA contribution, and that does affect about 179 employees, which is just short of $26,000 for the entire year. So it's pretty minimal expense. That's all the changes.
Okay, any questions?
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
So I'm curious on this, what the conversation was behind increasing the $5, taking away the $5 per year increase and changing that to a flat $140 at this point. And was that $5 a year increase in there since 2008's contract?
Yeah. So when the initial 4-year contract was established in 2008, I can't remember exactly what it was at. It was at a lower amount. And so for 4 years, the city had agreed at each beginning of the fiscal year, it would increase by $5, which is not a lot over a 4-year term. But what ended up happening is that there was 2 separate contract extensions. So what was a 4-year contract ended up being almost a 9-year contract. So $5 actually adds up quite a lot over almost a 10-year contract. So it just helps if the contract was to ever get extended or we run into those issues again, that we agree on just a set amount instead of something that's continually increasing.
And so that if that amount ever changes, it'll be part of the negotiated contract
Exactly.
annually?
Yes.
In the future? Okay.
Exactly.
And then the other thing on the sick leave, being an HRAV, it doesn't really have any increased financial effect to the city itself,
No.
right? It's just a savings for the employees to do it that way because it's pre-tax dollars, so.
Yeah, it didn't matter to the city one way or the other.
Okay.
We just threw that out to the group to consider.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now you're receiving a tax benefit, maybe you're getting 60, 70% of that in wages if you took advantage of it in a different way. And we really encourage that benefit just because it allows people to have those funds when they retire to pay for what is usually the highest expense once you retire, medical expenses. And they just like the idea, so.
Yeah, so that's not an increase for taxpayers and it's a benefit
Right.
for employees, so that's good, thank you.
Amy?
No questions.
Okay, need a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the proposed negotiated LCEA agreement establishing a 1-year contract for compensation and benefits as described here.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item number 3, extensions with Police Officers Association and Police Captain. And we have Melissa again.
Thank you. So our contracts with the Police Officer Association and our 2 captains were also set to expire this September 30th, 2017. So we originally had anticipated negotiating with this group as we did with LCEA. We got a little late in the year, and there were some things that we wanted to try to discuss all at the same time to have some conformity within the groups. So we approached the association and the captains to see if they would be open to extending their contract, and then when the LCEA, since the LCEA contract was also going to expire next year, we could kind of address all those things at the same time. And they were open to that and agreed to it, so we are just requesting that those contracts get extended 1 year so we could address some of those things at the same time.
Any discussion?
So, Melissa, as we talked a little bit, can you just refresh our mine, as to why the police captains have contracts outside of the regular police association contract? And is that typical with other cities? Is that a a normal thing, or do you know?
Yeah, I think the administrative staff is going to be salaried positions, and the police chief and the captains are making those administrative decisions that affect those employees underneath of them. So it would be a little unusual to have that management in an association when there is like a grievance process or discipline. Those employees really need to be outside of that association. So the captains don't fall under a department head rule. They're kind of out there by themselves. And so the city in the past has agreed to negotiate a separate agreement with them based on being management and falling outside of the association. Most of their contract or their agreement mirrors the police association. It's just the two groups have to be separate. And then we do, it runs along the same as our fire group too. So we have deputy fire chiefs that would be a police captain equivalent, and they're under a separate agreement as well, and outside of the fire union.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the one-year extensions with the Police Officer Association and both police captains, Steve Childers and David Hagar, extending their current compensation and benefits for 1 year.
Second?
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Item number 4, personnel rule amendment. And here we have a Melissa again.
I will conclude. So this personal rule amendment was brought up kind of based on the Lake City Employees Association agreement. So we have those employees that, as of October 1st, the beginning of their fiscal year, will transition from having their birthday holiday off to Christmas Eve or December 24th. After we thought about that a little bit, we have a building like City Hall that has a little bit of everybody in there. So if we had some employees off on December 24th and some employees not, it just seemed a little disjointed. So we polled all the exempt employees to see if they were interested in no longer having their birthday holiday off as one of the city's 11 observed holidays, and if they would prefer to have December 24th, because it would make things a bit easier as far as covering offices and staff. And it was almost unanimous that employees would prefer to have December 24th off. In the personnel rules right now, the way that the birthday holiday works is that you can take it within 30 days of your actual birthday. So it is a nice flexible holiday, but it does require some tracking and a lot of questions around how and when an employee can take it. So a set holiday really is ideal for managers and staffing departments and just having a set day off instead of having kind of this floating holiday. There was a lot of employees that aren't super excited about celebrating their birthday, so the December 24th seemed a bit more intriguing. So we put that out there to all exempt employees. They are very much in favor of that. So with changing the personnel rules, it would allow all those employees also to observe the same holiday. And then there was a housekeeping change under the exempt employee definition. We have a couple current exempt employees, the building official, city engineer position that are currently exempt and have been for a long time and just weren't written in the definition. So that's just a housekeeping change. And then we have 2 current hourly positions that I would recommend going to a salary position based on their management duties, day-to-day activities within the department. They have a lot of say in coordinating their staff, hiring, discipline. They really fall under an administrative exemption per FLSA. So I've met with the department head and both the employees, and they're very much in agreement with going salaried. So the personal rule would add them to the definition as well. And there's no cost behind any of the changes, and the holiday change would just streamline the process.
Okay, Need a motion.
I move to approve the proposed amendments to Rule, let's see, that'd be 25 and 26, specific to department heads and exempt employees.
Second.
Any more discussion?
I have a couple
Okay,
of
go
questions.
ahead.
So the city engineer lead project manager, is that one position?
Yes.
Or is that, so it's not just one person doing two jobs, but it's one position?
One position.
Okay. And then, so with the 24th, does that holiday then allow City Hall to be closed on that date?
Yes.
Is that the plan?
So the way that it'll be written in the rule is if December 24th falls on a weekend, employees will have the preceding Friday off. So this year is a good example. December 24th actually falls on a Sunday. And so City Hall would be closed on the Friday before. So,
And then
and
it's
then
also-
employees have December 25th off, which would be on a Monday. So it'd be Friday, Monday closed. Once we get past this year, it kind of works through the week and it will just be on the day. But the way that it's written for this holiday, since it does float around each year, if it falls on a weekend, it would be the previous day off.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, need a motion.
Got that.
We got it.
No worries. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
That's it, huh?
I'm done.
Are you sure? You want to throw in something new at the end?
Yeah.
Saved it all up for one time.
Mike and Troy, do you have anything? No, sir. Do you have anything for Melissa?
I think she took care of it all.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.